Welcome back, everybody. This video is going to explain this post and what we're going to do in AutoCAD to design and construct a bridge that is guided by a pretty standard kind of design statement here, problem statement, I should call it. TSA is a technology student organization. I run this organization, and we're doing this competition this year as a state technology group, but we're doing something similar to this, so you can see that this is a pretty standard kind of practice in the engineering world where you deal with a specific kind of challenge. And in this case, your challenge is going to be to design a bridge, truss bridge, something along the lines of this, and not just build it, but test it and crush it and break it and compare how much it holds versus to how much it weighs to see how efficient your design is. And that's the name of the game in a case like this, is that you're designing for efficiency. Let me just make sure I bring the right picture back up for you there. It's all about how you can get the job done with the least amount of materials and keep it as cheap and simple as possible, really. So it's all about how you build this and everything. So you're not just looking at the design world, but you're actually now going to be looking at the construction world and seeing how you take something by design and turn it into reality. And if it works, or if you need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. So this is how we're going to do this. You're going to either just launch AutoCAD and go to a new drawing. You can open a new drawing from here. We're going to start off by putting a layout together. You can see this is a 10-inch tall by 16-inch outline, because this is going to get printed on 11-inch by 17-inch paper. That's going to give us a half-inch border all the way around this design. But you are actually going to print this out in full size and build, well, first wax paper over the top of this printed page, and then build the walls of the bridges. These widths of these lines are the exact widths of the lumber that you're going to be using to construct the bridge. And you can see in a case like this, it's going to be your also cut map, where the deck of the bridge, which is this bottom piece, chord of the bridge, those are full length. You can see there's no cuts in those. So you're going to have these pieces put together exactly as you see in your design. So I'm going to show you from start to finish how you do this design. Here we go. You open a new drawing. You want to do a save as right out of the gate and call this your bridge design, so you don't worry about losing it. Specifically, my students, make sure that you're saving this in your U drive. I'm saving this to a thumb drive, but here's my calling it the name of the project, putting my last name in there, just to stay organized. You're going to start off with a basic set of lines here to box out your page. Start going to the right. It's going to be 16, enter, go vertically, 10, enter, back to the left, 16, enter. Something that I haven't said to my students before is, at this point, you'll see this at the bottom of the screen in your menu. You can just type the letter C and then hit enter, and that'll close the geometry that you're trying to close together with the line tool there. And then we're going to do an offset line here, 1/2 inch, to make a little title block on this. So when we print this out, you can keep track of your work. This is going to be 0.5, enter, put in some text. The text, once we drag this text block out, just mix the word box and block together, as I was saying. You can change this to a little bit bigger of a font size so you can read it. I'm changing mine to 0.4 inches and calling it. And the period. There's 4 groups of students with very similar looking designs, and you want to make sure you label this with your period number. Even better yet, you can put the date on there in addition to the period, so you know on or about when you're printing this out, so no one mistakes your project for theirs. We can click rotate here, click this text, hit the escape key, click on the text, grab it, and then move it into position. It'll be nice and big. Again, you made it 0.4, and it's fitting inside of a 1/2 inch space. We're really only going to get that into position if you zoom in. All right, so you can see, rather big, but that'll print nicely, and you'll be able to see it really easily once I put this in a drawer. If anybody were to pull this out, they'd be able to go, oh, that's not mine. It's Mr. Bonk's. Get it? All right. So the next step here is to split this in half. This is where you got to make sure, especially if you're not a student of mine and you just trip on this video on YouTube, you've got to have all these object snaps on, like midpoint, geometric center. These top four critical quadrant should be on, intersection, extension, tangent, all object snaps that I use. All right. And the point of that is when I go to draw a line, it's going to find the midpoint of this vertical line here. It's going to go to the midpoint of that line. When I click it, I've split this evenly in half. And what we're going to do is we're going to put two bridge walls on this. And what I'm going to do to center this bridge walls is what we've been doing with single designs, except now we're going to put two designs on one page. So my students, also, if you want to start trying to do this with shortcuts on the keyboard, and type in the letter L and then just hit enter, it's going to turn the line button on for you. Put two diagonal lines in either half of those pages. And then what we'll do is make one bridge wall and copy and paste two copies of that bridge wall over here. So really you're designing a bridge wall just one time. And everybody's exterior of the bridge wall is going to be the same. You're going to start off with a 16 by 3 inch box here. Type in 16. Now this is going to be similar to previous projects where you block things out and then remove what you don't need here. So watch this, 3 going upwards, going to the right, 16 again. And I'm actually going to escape and I'm going to undo this, Control Z. I apologize, it's 15 inches long, not 16. So I'm going to the right 15 inches. 3 up, back 15. And then again, you can hit the letter C on the keyboard and then enter, and it'll just close in that rectangle for you. All right, now I'm going to do offsets. Click offset. Oop, it's the wrong kind. Offset. Should be 1/8 for your offset. There we go. Click it 3 times. See, it's going the wrong way. 1/8. Enter. And you want to offset that way. 1/8. Enter. Everything is 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 in terms of widths. So just bear with me here. 1/8, like that. Okay. That's just going to be a quick rough outline for the bottom deck of the bridge and the top chord, what it's called. You got to make sure now, in this case here, angular snaps are set right. You want this set up where this is going to snap at 45 degrees when you start drawing a line at 45 degrees. So you could take this line tool now and go from the bottom corners up at 45 degrees and just finish it off. Ooh. Yeah, we actually want to finish this off up at the top to trim. We're going to do this on both sides. Draw a line going up at an angle. It'll snap. The green dotted line will show up at 45 degrees. Hit the escape key when you're done. All right, and now what you'll do is trim away what you don't need. Click the trim tool and you can just draw a line through all this stuff. Whoop. Okay. Now, very important is that you make sure at this point when you look at things like the chords or the deck that you remind yourself that that stays one entire length when you're building this thing, by making sure it's right in your design here. Now, what you can do is just hit offset and click these outside of what are called end posts. They've got to be 1/8 of an inch in, 1/8, like that. You can just click on this one, go on inward again, 1/8, enter, and then trim away what you don't need. again, what's going to happen here is you're going to leave the top and the bottom lengths what they need to be, which is full here. All right. Now we're going to use a new tool. Sorry. I'm going to hit the escape key and type in ML. There's a double line option or multiple line option. Watch this, multiple power lines. If you click that, scale, type in 1/8. It's going to give us 1/8 parallel lines. This is a neat. Justification, what you can do is I'm just going to go to 0 to show you this to begin with, because we'll draw a center line down the very middle of this. And if our justification is set at 0 and I go to the midpoint of this top chord and I start to draw this line down, what it's going to do is it's going to make an 1/8 inch parallel double lines, and the justification being 0, it's going to draw it right down the middle. So the green indicator is showing me that I'm right down the center of this bridge wall, and it's making an 1/8 inch width double line that a piece of wood is going to lay right on top of. And it's perfect. Now, if I do this again, I'm going to type in ML for my multi-line again. You can see that the scale is still set to 0.13, which is 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to hit escape. Watch this justification. If you go click bottom and then click on this corner, that's considered the bottom of that line. It's sideways, so it's hard to see that. But if I'm just going to hit escape and finish that up. So if I click on that very corner point with bottom justification, it's going to draw the multi-line to the right and complete it. And that's exactly how that corner should be built. And once you actually print this out and build a bridge wall on top of that. Over here, I have to use the other justification. So I'm going to type in the letters ML for multi-line, hit enter. I'm going to click on justification, and then I'm going to choose now top. And when I click on this corner point going straight down, it's going to lay out the parallel multi-line alongside of it. I click where I want it to land, hit the escape key, said and done. All right, now what I need to do is put in a couple of more these vertical posts, they're called, in between these outside vertical posts and the very middle vertical posts. I want to align one right in the center here. But if I were to draw a line, there's nothing showing me that that's the midpoint. So I'm going to find that by drawing a diagonal line and using the center point of the diagonal as the midpoint. Watch. Click the line tool. In this case, you can hit L on the keyboard and hit enter, and that'll launch the line tool. Students could also just go here and draw a line diagonally. Here, you can do the same thing over here. I'm just using the escape key to finish that line. And now what I want to do is, if I were to draw just a regular line, I can get my indicator of this midpoint of this space vertically by just launching off of that midpoint of that diagonal line. I'm going to type in ML again and enter. Whoop, I gotta hit escape first, have ML enter. And it's going to bring up the multi-line tool justification I want at 0. What that's going to do is allow me to go over this midpoint of that line, go directly above it, and pull a line straight through. Hit the escape key, and it'll finish it up. And the same thing over here. ML enter, justification. Just click on it, make sure it's set to 0. Go over the midpoint of this diagonal line, click above it on the top chord, go to the deck, hit the escape key, and now you have perfectly arranged vertical posts for your bridge. Right. Now what you can do is just hit the escape key to make sure you're on your regular selection tool. Click on these two construction diagonals and delete them both. And then simply finish this up by drawing diagonals. What we're going to do is, here, this should be a V shape from the middle out. To be done engineering wise correctly here. Watch this. I'm going to draw just, this doesn't have to be a double line here. But what it should be, if you're doing it properly, see I'm striking the L on the keyboard. It brings us up. You just hit L and enter. If you prefer not moving your mouse up and clicking the L button. Hit the escape key to finish that. L, enter. So I'm starting this line. Okay. Hit the escape key to finish that out. All right. Now on a bridge design, these, the actual distribution of load weights call for these diagonal posts to form a V shape going from the center of the bridge outward is the strongest way to support the middle gap or whatever this is over. So ultimately, you have some flexibility in how you can design this here, but what you have to understand is measurement wise, everything's got to be accurate going. This should be 15 inches long exactly. And then I'm going to put a dimension top to bottom overall should be exactly 3 inches for everybody. All right, watch this. I'm going to hit escape, make sure nothing is on. I'm going to click on this side, let go, click over on the other side to select everything, go to move, and I'll go over. That's actually going to grab, if you see the X in the center there, that's going to grab this thing by its geometric center. What you want to do is mouse over the triangle. It takes a second to get it where you want it. Mouse over the triangle at the midpoint of the diagonal behind it to place that ridge wall. Control Z. I want to undo that move. I apologize. What you want to do is make a copy of this before you move it. It's going to be easier to deal with later. So if you select over this, hit Control, actually just easier if you hit copy, and then you have to specify a selection point. Click it, make a copy, and then hit the escape key just to duplicate it. And then you can grab one and move it. Click on one side of it, let go, click on the other side of it, hit move, grab it. That's to grab it from the midpoint of this thing. If it's off of a 16th of an inch or whatever, because you grab it by one of these sides, it's really not a big deal. But if you see that white X, that means you're in the very, very, very center. Then when you go over this diagonal, you want to make sure that that X sits on top of the triangle like that. You click and place it. That'll land it in exactly the middle. Click on that line, hit delete, gets rid of that. Same thing over here. Click one side, let go, click on the other side, hit move, grab it from its geometric center here, which is in between those two parallel lines. And then you want to zoom in and get right over that triangle with that intersecting line. Click, boom. Now you have two perfectly placed bridge walls when this is all said and done. Now here's the story with printing this thing. I can't show you my printer or the classroom printer since I'm recording this from home. But when you go to the print option menu, you're going to go to what's in the printer name. You're going to choose it's called EO35225. So you're looking for the room number, EO3, and it's 5225. You're going to have to click on a list of opening up more printers. You might see 3, but you have to click more if you only see a few and you don't see the one that I'm talking about. After you click on the printer that you're printing to, which is the right one, you're going to have to choose what area you're going to print. You have to choose the extents option to make sure you print whatever extents you've drawn to on the screen, and that'll fit it on the size page that you're looking for. The other thing is that you're choosing it's going to say 11 by 17 page size, which would be an ANSI. But in this case, you're going to see it specifically say 11 by 17 in the printer software menu. So you have to change the printer, the paper size, and what to plot or print. In this case, you're printing to the extents. And then this is going to lay out on 11 by 17 paper with your name on it. Everything is going to be laid out and spaced out so you can cover this page in wax paper and build your walls of your bridge right on top of it. It's going to be amazing. See you guys soon.